Being a stuntman is actually one of the most dangerous jobs currently in the United States. And the stats of injuries could be even higher because they're not well reported. For this reason, companies such as Disney are currently experimenting with robot acrobatics to perform stunts. After a heavy snow, there are some places such as roads and airports that need the snow gone as soon as possible to continue operating normally. An awesome machine that takes care of this problem is the ribbon snowblower, which pulls snow into the machine and pushes it towards an impeller that shoots out the snow. Sometimes operators really have to trust their coworkers and equipment. A crazy moment to watch was when a skid steer was working on the roof of a building, and the operator had to trust that the crane will lift him up when the roof collapses. With water sports getting more creative, a company called Lifefoils created an awesome surfboard that basically looks like it's flying and uses a very similar technology as sailboats. Well, the only problem I find with this surfboard is that it costs $12,000. A rocket booster is used to increase the rocket takeoff thrust, and after the boosters are spent, they just fall away. Even though generally they land okay, sometimes mistakes happen. But okay, an awesome booster landing caught on cameras from SpaceX, who are the first ones to use reusable rocket boosters in order to reduce contamination, and it's amazing to see the boosters coming back to the ground in a safe way.
Double sonic booms.
With a man or woman going to Mars being closer to becoming a reality, NASA already made an awesome concept vehicle called the Rover, and it does kind of look like the Batmobile, and the designers of the vehicle were the Park brothers, who designed the motorcycles in the movie Tron.
How many miles away is Mars?
Well, it depends on where it is in its orbit, but when it's at its best travel distance, it takes 9 months to get there.
Something that seems simple to make, but actually is an extremely complicated process, with many machines in the works are balloons. This is all the machinery that goes into work in order to create a 2-cent balloon that probably is going to be used only once. And an interesting fact is that the first balloon was just 2 sheets of rubber on top of each other, with flour in the middle to prevent them from joining. It's a well-known fact that most walls inside houses in America are made of plywood, because, well, it's an easy material to operate and fix. If you ever wonder how a log turns into plywood, it's basically a machine that reduces the logs to sheets, and then they're laminated and pressed. Using a trowel to smooth out concrete, even though its effect is also very time-consuming and near impossible in large sites. That's when screed machines come useful to smooth out the concrete, and they're incredibly high-tech and can do the job in a little amount of time. If you want to get your mind blown, there's something called microfluidics, which basically is controlling liquid through electricity. Ocean waves can be extremely dangerous, especially rogue waves, which are those unexpected huge waves that can be a risk for small ships and even big rigs. Even though this one aren't quite rogue waves, this is an offshore rig, very deep in the sea, and it's struggling to maintain balance. In agriculture, ditches are used to channel water, either as a drainage or to get water for irrigation. But these ditches sometimes also have to be cleared, and that's when there are these massive, powerful machines that pump the content from the ditches back into the ground. When we think about 3D printers, we usually don't think about the massive industrial machines, but rather the smaller ones, in which we can create some useful gadgets. This, on the other hand, is the largest polymer 3D printer, and here it is printing quite literally a boat in less than 72 hours. This is what a $1 million watch from Jacob & Co. looks like. What makes it so unique is that it's an astronomia watch, which in the context means a sort of poetical visual. Even though it looks like an amazing piece of engineering, $1 million does seem a bit steep. Carrying concrete slabs or any other construction material that's heavy is extremely time-consuming and can cause back injuries for the workers. Nowadays, most construction sites just use one excavator operator, which can do it in much less time and way more effectively. Most people are familiar with wind turbines that basically uses the wind to make electricity. But there are also hydraulic turbines, which are less known, that go on the sea to capture the current's energy. The one shown is a prototype from Open Hydro that's not quite ready yet, but it's very close to becoming a reality. Even though paper cups are still more environmentally friendly than plastic cups, they still are usually coated with a bit of plastic or wax to prevent liquid from actually going through the paper. An awesome paper cup machine from Shunda that even has a detection system makes 130 cups a minute, and it's mesmerizing to watch. In order to disconnect a transmission line for maintenance, there's a disconnector, which you roll in, and it does cause kind of a big arc discharge. Here is a 345 kilovolt disconnect that creates a massive arc. A pretty cool high-speed machine that's used to handle packaged food is the VMECA Magic Ripper, which works like a vacuum that suctions the food and puts it where it's supposed to go, and it's oddly satisfying to watch. If you ever wondered how ketchup is made, it's actually pretty straightforward, but it does involve a lot of machinery. Basically, after the tomatoes are collected, they pass through a machine that peels them, and then they're turned by another machine into paste, and later vinegar, and other ingredients are added, and it's pretty much done. Some rescues are more complicated than others. An amazing tool mainly used for natural disasters is one from USAR that is a relatively small tool that can lift rocks or concrete that weighs hundreds of pounds. Ship launches can easily go wrong. The best way to go about it is putting the ship in a slipway and then just let it go into the water sideways. They do it on the side to avoid the need of having the water channel to be deep, and usually when the ships are big they cause a massive splash that are fun to watch. It's no secret that saw machines can be dangerous if a mistake were to happen. An amazing innovation to see is this saw machine that can detect if there's a contact with the skin and reacts in 0.02 milliseconds and avoids any serious damage. For some reason, mono wheels are not as popular as they used to be way back in the day. They're still street legal, despite how hard it would be to explain to an officer if you get pulled over. But okay, a pretty cool piece of machinery is this 1931 mono wheel that had a 3-speed gearbox and a 174 cubic meter engine. In the Czech Republic, in order to reduce plastic waste, they started introducing in some drugstores refill machines, in which people can come back with empty bottles and refill their shampoo or even shower gel, so they don't have to buy a new one every time they run out.